issues. Trân trọng kính mời quý vị đứng lên, im lặng, nghiêm chỉnh, làm lễ chào quốc kỳ.
It is time for the acknowledgement of our nations. Please stand for the national anthems.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. Is God by sea, our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. Each time strength and let us sing, advance Australia
này không sợ hãi đứng lên hát lời sống nâng lòng cùng đi sự biết gì cần xa vì tương lai quốc dân cùng sống và khói lên làm sao cho dân từ nay hướng tới về xin cho thành rơi trên gương sao Thủ Hiến lấy máu đào để vào mãi dấu đầu tiên phải gần giải nguy người không dân thân vững về tâm trí hùng tráng quyết chiến đấu làm cho nhân vang tiếng lời đem nam cho đến muôn nhân không sẽ đời màu đêm vàng dưới đời công dân màu làm cho tôi vượt qua đời tàn phá về hoa mai rồi sẽ tính lại quyền đắc quân dân là
Sau đây là phút mặc niệm để ghi ơn tổ tiên, các đấng minh quân, văn thánh đã dày công dựng nước và giữ nước, lễ tri ân những anh hùng, anh thư, chiến sĩ đã hy sinh cho lý tưởng tự do của người dân tộc, để tưởng nhớ các đồng bào đã bỏ mình trên đường vượt biên tìm tự do.
We now ask for a minute of silence to commemorate the ancestors who have founded our nation, the heroes and heroines who sacrificing their lives to protect the country, and to commemorate those who lost their lives in search for freedom.
Lễ chào quốc kỳ chấm dứt, xin quý vị an tọa.
The national anthems have ended. Please be seated.
Sau đây là lễ dâng hương tổ. Xin mời bác sĩ Nguyễn Anh, Chủ tịch Cộng đồng hướng dẫn quan khách lên bàn thờ tổ.
Xin mời bác sĩ Chủ tịch Cộng đồng Nguyễn Anh Dũng lên đọc diễn văn khai mạc.
We would like to invite Dr. Thanh Nguyễn.
Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and distinguished guests. I might speak in Vietnamese for a few words before I go to English. Xin kính chào toàn thể quý đồng hương đã có mặt hôm nay. Thì năm nay là năm Tý, là khởi đầu của một chu kỳ mới của 12 năm Con Giáp, cho nên là chúng ta hy vọng sẽ có những bước đổi mới và những bước những năm đầu tiên rất là hạnh phúc và hên cho cộng đồng chúng ta cũng như cho toàn nước Úc. Thì chúc quý đồng hương một năm mới an khang thịnh vượng và làm ăn phát tài hơn năm ngoái, mặc dù kinh tế chưa có được ổn định lắm. Và cũng xin chúc cho đồng bào ở Việt Nam năm mới thì có chế độ mới để cho toàn dân thoát khỏi ách nô lệ của Cộng sản và Trung Quốc. This year is the year of the rat. The year of the rat is the first year of the Oriental zodiac, and normally is a good sign, a good symbol for the next 12-year cycle. I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you for all our distinguished guests, many parliamentary dignitaries, so many have come today, has responded to our invitation, and we are very moving seeing all of you here, from federal to state to local government, and especially we have the whole team of the police force of Western Australia, led by the commissioner, to be here today. We are deeply appreciated your presence and your support to the Vietnamese community. Now, this festival has been prepared in the last 6 months, starting with paperwork, and in the last many weeks and recently in many days, about 100 volunteers have come to set up the infrastructure, decoration, and all sort of things that you can imagine of. I deeply appreciate their support, and without them, we cannot have the festival like this. But deep in our mind, the Vietnamese people are very grateful to the support of the government, led by Premier McGowan, and also on the other side, the federal government had also supported us. And in the next few minutes, you will hear the representative of the Prime Minister and to say something about their support. But very close to us is the Labour government led by the Honourable McGowan, has been so supportive in the last many years. And this year, the amount of funding that we receive from the Premier, the Cabinet and the government is so exciting. Whatever we ask for, they grant it. That's a very good thing. And sometimes we ask for a small amount, but Premier McGowan give us more than we ask for. Please give a big applause to the Premier and the government. I should have a very short speech to leave time for many other guests that we very keen to hear. And I think that the next, the Honourable McGowan. Now, Honourable McGowan is the 30th Premier of Western Australia, and under his leadership, the state government is focused on creating and securing jobs for West Australians, delivering a quality education and healthcare, and also the vision for the metronet, exciting public transport. In addition to that, his role as a Premier, Honourable McGowan also hold the public sector management, state development, jobs and trade, federal and state relation portfolios. Please, may introduce the Honorable McGowan MLA, Premier of Western Australia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ahn, for that very lovely welcome tonight at this event. Like Dr. Ahn, I am going to start my speech in Vietnamese before I go to English. Xin chào quý vị và chúc mừng năm mới. Right, now I'm going to English. I'm not as good at English as I am at Vietnamese, just so you know. Can I so many acknowledgements, but acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, to Dr. Ahn, to all the members of Parliament, Commissioner, local government officials, ladies and gentlemen. It is marvellous to be here this evening, I think for the 8th time that I've been to this event, and I very much appreciate it. Is a marvellous celebration of Vietnamese culture in Western Australia, and it showcases all the exciting aspects of the Vietnamese community in our great state. Whether it is cuisine or celebration or culture, whether it's cultural and religious practices, it is an exciting and very, very well attended event here in Wanneroo each and every year. And can I congratulate the Vietnamese community for putting it on. It is an extraordinarily large effort to put an event like this together each and every year, and I know many people have toiled for many hours, for many months to put this event together, and it's very much appreciated by a great many people. Over the course of this event there will be around 20,000 people come and attend and experience Vietnamese culture. But more than that, it celebrates the Vietnamese people of Western Australia. There's around 37,000 people born in Vietnam or of Vietnamese heritage in Western Australia, and people of Vietnamese background do so many things across our community. Dr. Ahn himself is a medical doctor. There are people in all walks of life. And what characterises Vietnamese people very much is hard work, commitment to family, love of their state, and a deep commitment to community. So can I congratulate everyone? Can I wish everyone an exciting Tet Festival? Can I wish the Year of the Rat is successful for everyone? The Year of the Rat, might say very appropriate for people in political life to celebrate that. Can I also acknowledge, and I think this is important, that the state government has provided $52,000 towards this ceremony or towards this event. But on top of that, the Vietnamese Community of Western Australia Association runs integration services for Vietnamese people arriving in Western Australia. They address English literacy, education, isolation and information about the Australian legal system, and make sure that people who immigrate to Western Australia have all of those services and all of that information provided to them. So one of the things we do is try and provide support for associations that provide those services. So tonight it's my great pleasure to provide to Dr. Ahn a grant of $150,000 for this program because of the great work that the community does in Western Australia. I'd like to see that continue. Thank you, Dr. Ahn, for all the work you and the organisation does, and can I wish everyone a very happy and exciting Year of the Rat.
Thank you, Premier. Now, the Premier just handed to me 3 certificates with the Hellway $15,000, the Lottery West $17,428, and especially the Vietnamese community, we applied for the grant entitled services, integration services for the Vietnamese people. with a 3-year grant to make sure that we have the youth foundation to run something to help our people to integrate quickly to the society. Thank you again, Premier, and thank you to the Honorable Government. Thank you. Thank you. Trước khi vào đây thì sẽ có sau tất cả. Who mentioned that today we run a bushfire appeal, disaster relief to help the victims of the bushfire which has been raging in Australia in the last 4 months. The Vietnamese people is very keen to help because we see this is the opportunity for us to pay back to the society, to the country who have open arms to embrace us when we first landed in here after 1975 exodus. We've been running away from the communists, and Australia has opened their arms very widely to accept us and to help us to integrate. And when the bushfire like this, a disaster like this happen, we see this is a good opportunity to show the people that we care for the country, that now we go home. Thank you very much. Then.
Xin mời bà Thủ lãnh đối lập lên đọc diễn văn.
We now would like to invite the leader of the opposition, Honourable Lisa Harvey, to deliver a speech.
Thank you very much. It's my very great pleasure to be here this evening to celebrate the contribution of the Vietnamese community to Western Australian culture on this, the Lunar New Year, the Year of the Rat in 2020. I was really quite overwhelmed to see the amazing attendance here of so many of my parliamentary colleagues, both at state and federal level. And I think that what this community can take away from that is that there is a very deep appreciation of your elected members of the massive contribution that the families from Vietnam who have migrated to Western Australia have contributed to our economy, to our culture, and to our community in so many different ways. To Dr. Ahn and the committee and the over 100 volunteers who've pulled this event together, congratulations. You have really pulled together once again an outstanding celebration of Vietnamese culture and also an outstanding celebration to bring in what we all hope will be a prosperous year, the Year of the Rat. I'm also very pleased and very supportive of the contribution from the state government to the Vietnamese community. Integration services are so important for new Australians coming here to understand about Australian culture. But I would like to say that for the Vietnamese families who migrate here to Western Australia, that integration is made so much easier by those shared values that we have. Those values of the appreciation of a democratic society, a democracy in which we can all vote and in which we all have equality of opportunity. Those values of family, values of culture, and the value of community and giving back, volunteering as we are tonight and assisting with the bushfire appeal. That is the those quintessential elements are what bind us together and is why the Vietnamese families who have migrated here have been so warmly embraced by the Western Australian community. So on behalf of the State Parliamentary Liberal Party, thank you for the contribution that you've made. Thank you for the opportunity to share in this beautiful event this evening. And I hope that you all have a very prosperous Year of the Rat. Happy Lunar New Year. Thank you.
We gave him more money than that.
Xin mời bà thị trưởng Tracy Roberts lên đọc diễn văn.
We would like to invite Ms. Tracy Roberts, Mayor of the City of Wanneroo, to deliver a speech.
Thank you very much and good evening everybody. It's fantastic to be here to look across at the showgrounds and just see how much the vibrancy of this event is bringing to our local community. It's my absolute pleasure as the Mayor of the City of Wanneroo to be here to say a very big thank you to our Vietnamese community. But I would like to begin by respectfully acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. I would also like to say that it's the first time ever I have been a human chess piece. And we just had the great time earlier this evening by everybody playing the game of chess, which I believe has been played right across the world. And what a great time that we did have. That's celebrating the Vietnamese culture, and we stand here and I'm looking right around this whole showgrounds, and I remember just a few days ago where we held the largest citizenship ceremony in the country, and to see so many of our Vietnamese community taking Australian citizenship, standing in their traditional dress, proud, very, very proud. And we as a community are incredibly proud that you have chosen to make Wanneroo your home for our local residents. And to see the smiling faces of the day, but to also show respect to what you bring to our community. Both the Premier and the Leader of the Opposition have talked about the people who are here today, and that's respect. That's respect for our Vietnamese community. That's respect for what you bring to our city and our country. And that comes from the heart. And we say a very big thank you to each and every one of you for what you bring that enhances our communities, but also that strong sense of integration and connection. I would also like to say that the community, the Vietnamese community, the employment that they bring, as the Premier mentioned before, Dr. An is a medical doctor, but the businesses that are created, the employment that is given to local people. And I also reflect on the Giraween Senior High School and the Vietnamese school that we have that runs on the weekend. That's children born to Vietnamese families in Australia. However, making sure they never forget where they came from, where their families came from, where their grandparents live, and they continue that culture. I also like to say, I can't not say it, a very special thank you to our Vietnamese seniors who operate out of Kandula. And I know that President Khai is here and his committee, and we thank them for their commitment to our community. It is an absolute highlight and a very treasured time for myself and our local MPs, spending time in Kandula and enjoying the line dancing. And I've actually seen Dr. Anne Ali, the federal member for Cowan, really trying hard to master her line dancing skill set. And also Margaret Quirk, Janine Freeman, all of us enjoy so much time with our Vietnamese seniors, but also that strong sense of welcome that we always get. But I'm really looking forward to the celebrations this evening, really looking forward to the spectacular traditional entertainment that we'll be having, the fireworks, the lion dancing, the fantastic food. But in conclusion, I would like to say that I'm so honoured and very excited that you have chosen to make Western Australia your home, and on that basis we are so privileged and proud to call you our family. And on that note, I wish each and every one of you a happy, prosperous year of the rat, and hope that it brings health and happiness to all of your families. I've got a special presentation to make too. It's not a cheque like the Premier, but I would like Dr. Anne to please come forward, because I'm going to present to Dr. Anne the City of Wanneroo tie. And
big smile. And the contribution and the hard work, the dedication and commitment that Dr. Anne and his committee bring to our community is unparalleled. And this is a tie that was created by our artist, an Aboriginal artist, local lady, Sandra Colburn. And what it says is that Noongar land is still one and the same, and we should all share and respect it. Dr. Anne, thank you so very much for what you do within our community.
This year might be a very good luck year for me because first of all I received so much money from the government and now the tie from the city of Wanneroo, and also I also remind our people that the federal government also give us $750,000 to as a stepping stone to build our cultural center, and in a moment we will ask the representative of the Prime Minister and Senator Dean Smith to come to deliver the speech for our people. Thank you very much. Thank you again. All the parties, political parties in Australia, very supportive to the Vietnamese community. And again, I take this opportunity to thank you to the government, to Honorable McGowan, his cabinet, his government, and the local government as well, with few Vietnamese councillors. I think that they will contribute very greatly to our advancement in Australia. And I would like to say again, thank you very much, Mayor Tracy, and I will wish you all the best in the year of the Red.
We would like to invite the representative of the Prime Minister of Australia, Mr. Vince Connolly, MP, and we also invite Senator Dean Smith to join him on the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I also acknowledge the Premier of our great state, Mr. Mark McGowan, Lisa Harvey, the Leader of the Opposition, and to all of my state and federal parliamentary colleagues. Just before I hand over to Vince to make some remarks on behalf of our Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, can I congratulate Dr. Anne on the wonderful work that he does, the great stewardship that he brings to the Vietnamese community here in Western Australia. The Lunar New Year that we celebrate is an opportunity to think about family, friends, to think about our community as a whole. But for Australia, it's also an opportunity to think about the wonderful contribution that the Vietnamese community has made to enrich that multicultural fabric in our own country. Few people realise that after France and the United States, Australia is the third largest home of Vietnamese people living outside of Vietnam. In Western Australia, almost 40,000 people claim Vietnamese heritage. And here in Perth's northern suburbs, we know that this is the home that many West Australian Vietnamese people choose to raise their family and educate their children. I'm delighted that on behalf of Vince Connolly, Ian Goodenough, myself, Christian Porter, that the federal government has committed $750,000 as a first step to building the much talked about but much needed Vietnamese Cultural Centre. And I congratulate everyone in the Vietnamese community for the great stewardship, again under Dr. Anne's leadership, that encouraged that very, very significant contribution from the federal government to the Vietnamese community in Western Australia. $750,000 as a first step. Ladies and gentlemen, can I now introduce Vince Connolly, the new member for the new federal member for Stirling, to share some remarks from our Prime Minister Scott Morrison.
Wonderful, thank you, Senator Smith. Chuk Mung Nam Moi. It's a wonderful pleasure to be here, and today, on behalf of our Prime Minister Scott Morrison MP, I'm here to pass on from the Prime Minister a message of thanks. A message of thanks to the Australian Vietnamese community in Western Australia for your commitment to the success of our diverse and peaceful nation, and for your hard work and contributions to our nation over many years. Now, as Senator Smith mentioned, I am a new MP, and I attended my first Australian Citizenship Awards and Citizenship Ceremony in the city of Stirling just last weekend. Now, one of the high points of that was there was a young lady named Jenny Lam who's of Vietnamese descent, and she was an award recipient from last year. And she spoke to us there. There were 273 new citizens being awarded citizenship that day, and Jenny was a contestant on the 2018 MasterChef, and she now has a Vietnamese street food restaurant. And Jenny just told a little bit about her story. And she said after 18 months, she went to her mum and she sat down with her mum and she was in tears. She says, "Mum, I'm not getting there. I've been working, pouring my heart and soul into this new business, trying to get it up and running, and it's not working." And she said, I'm thinking of giving up. And her mother said to her, she said, "If you give up, you'll be disowned." And she yelled at her, and Jenny said, Mum was relentless. She said, she yelled at me, she said, "Do not give up. That's not the right way to go." And she was really very forceful. You might call it tough love, but I'll tell you what, Jenny said it was effective. So that gave something of the spirit that family brought and that Jenny brought to her job. And it was also an inspiration. So for all those other new Australians out there, the message that they were hearing was that your hard work will be rewarded, because Jenny has become incredibly successful. And the new Australians were hearing that message loud and clear. We are prosperous, and reward for hard work is what we're all about. Now, diplomatic relationships between Australia and Vietnam might have only been established in 1973, but they've grown significantly. And just last year, Vietnam and Australia have signed a joint statement on the establishment of a strategic partnership between Australia and Vietnam. Our Prime Minister has certainly been engaged, including in country, reflecting the wide range of cooperation around trade and investment, education, defence and security, policing, immigration, combating crime, people smuggling and the scourge of human trafficking. Australia is heavily involved in ASEAN, and it's been wonderful progression to see Vietnam transitioning from a centrally planned to a market-based economy. This is a journey in which Australia and Vietnam are partnering closely. All of this combines to paint a very, very solid picture of the relationship that will continue in this positive vein for many, many decades to come. So in conclusion, I take this opportunity on behalf of the federal government and the Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison, to renew to the Vietnamese community in Western Australia our highest regards and wish you a happy, a healthy and a prosperous 2020.
We now would like to invite the Police Commissioner, Mr. Chris Dawson, onto the stage to deliver a speech.
Trân Trọng, chúc mừng năm mới. Happy Vietnamese Lunar New Year, the Year of the Rat, and look, it's a great privilege to be here. I also acknowledge the Wadjuk Noongar people as the original traditional owners of the land that we're on, and pay our respects. Acknowledging the Premier, Mr Mark McGowan MLA, the Leader of the Opposition, Lisa Harvey MLA, other honourable members of Parliament, whether they be federal, state, and indeed our local government, Mayor Tracy Roberts, councillors, and all distinguished guests, and particularly those from our Vietnamese community, Dr. An and your committee members. Look, it's vital that in policing Western Australia that we show respect to all cultures, to all religions, irrespective of gender, on our beliefs, etc. That it's important in policing Western Australia, that we understand and we respect the key values. And I also, as the speakers previous to me have also acknowledged, I think the values and the industrial sort of efforts that Vietnamese people have made and are continuing to make in Western Australia is wonderful. And being from strong family values, respecting your elders, in celebrating your culture, that only enriches the community that we live in. From a policing perspective, it's really important that Western Australia Police not only respect your ethnicity and your heritage. I have some wonderful officers and some staff who have Vietnamese heritage. I'd like to recruit more. So can I take this opportunity to also ask if any of you have young people, doesn't matter what age, who are interested in joining police, that will more than adequately mean something to represent Vietnamese heritage to further enrich our great state and provide an even safer community to the one we already enjoy. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I do also wish you well in the Year of the Rat. It's a great opportunity for us to celebrate with you and congratulate you all on what a wonderful cultural experience you bring to us here in Western Australia. Thank you, and I'll close with Xin Cảm ơn. Thank you.
Thank you to all the special guests who delivered their speeches tonight. Your praise and acknowledgement are humbly and sincerely accepted. We now invite Dr. An Nguyen back onto the stage to have a few words about the fundraising for bushfire appeal with the Salvation Army.
Thank you. I probably asked, my honor to ask the ladies who run the bushfire appeal to come here, and Mr. Palmer, the envoy from the Salvation Army who work with us to relieve the victims of the bushfire. May I ask Mr. Palmer to come to the stage?
Good evening, one and all. I'm Warren Palmer, Public Relations Secretary for the Salvation Army, and I've got to say I'm regretting right now not wearing a jacket tonight. Feeling a bit of the cold, but that's fine. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the Honourable Mark McGowan, Premier of Western Australia, the Honourable Lisa Harvey, Leader of the Opposition, Mayor Tracy Roberts, Commissioner of Police Chris Dawson, Dr. An, of the President of the Vietnamese community, and other distinguished guests, including members of Parliament and councillors. It is such a privilege to be here this evening amongst great friends and to witness the community at its best. There is no doubt that Australia displays its highest qualities when our fellow neighbour or Australians from any part of this wide country are in trouble. Our care and concern for those of each other is a trademark of the very character of what defines being Australian. The other strength that we have is diversity, and the Vietnamese community over many years since coming to Australia have added a wonderful presence, quality to our communities, and proves that whilst we are many, we are one. I want to acknowledge and elevate the experience of what we are witnessing today, of the Vietnamese community supporting those who have lost so much through the recent bushfires. It is a perfect example of the common connection between each of us. Do you know, life is not always fair, and it's not perfect. But what is comforting is when Australians experience hardship and know that no one ever deserves, our communities come together, wrap their arms around each other with an indelible mark of what defines us in our darkest hour. The Salvation Army Emergency Services, our teams have been active in the bushfire crisis since September 2019. With over 3,000 staff and volunteers active, we have provided over 250,000 meals, 240,000 light refreshments to our first responders and evacuees. Our personnel and mobile units continue to remain on the ground, providing a hand of friendship and a listening ear. Over 3,000 Salvo personnel and volunteers are involved in our bushfire aid efforts, assisting over 3,200 people. 26 staff are currently managing a dedicated telephone service for financial assistance. And to date, the Salvation Army has raised over $15 million in our account, of which 2/3, almost 70%, has already been distributed to those in need for immediate assistance. The emergency assistance has slowed, as it normally does in events like this, as we now transition to medium and longer term recovery. A further $29 million has been pledged by the community but not received by us, but will provide us with the ability to be able to commit to the community well into the future. All funds raised by the 30th of June will be either spent or committed for this bushfire response. I want to congratulate the Vietnamese community of Western Australia for what they're doing, which indeed carries the hallmark, the deeply embedded traits of what it means to live and to be Australian. We salute you all and value what you bring to the communities as a vital member, and your contribution brings quality to each of our lives. Thank you so much.
Tôi sẽ mời những cô mà chuyên môn về gây quỹ cho Hội Salvation Army nói ít lời, tại vì chúng ta sắp sửa có đến giờ bắn pháo bông 8 giờ rưỡi, cho nên sau cái này thì chúng ta sẽ dựng cây nêu, múa lên, xong rồi chúng ta sẽ có pháo bông để cho chào mừng. I also forgot to mention that only yesterday there are 4 MPs from Canberra have put some money together for us because they worry that we don't have enough money to run the festival. So I again, through Senator Dean Smith, send my sincere thank you to the MPs who have not here today, but give us some money from their own pocket. Thank you very much. Xin mời chị nữ đại diện cho nhóm gây quỹ có vài lời nói với đồng hương.
Good evening. Sorry, please allow me to speak in English first. And my two sisters would follow me and express thought in Vietnamese. First of all, dear honourable guests and my beloved Vietnamese people in Western Australia. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Thanh Nguyễn, the President of the Vietnamese community in WA, for allowing us, my three sisters, the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Vietnamese community in Western Australia. The bushfire has been raging in several stages for 4 months. We have already witnessed the tragic loss of lives, property, wildlife, and livelihoods of more devastation expected. We all gather here today to celebrate Lunar New Year, the year of the rat, but we do not forget the bushfire victims. So we hope that with culture, music and entertainment conducted by our local singer Lam Gia Huy and his band, to spread love and healing to people and communities affected by the bushfire this summer. In light of this event, the Vietnamese in WA are united to raise funds to support those impacted by this terrible disaster. We, the Vietnamese in Western Australia, reflected upon our own journey as refugees when we fled our beloved country after the war in 1975, leaving our family and belongings behind. Despite our deep sense of loss and state of trepidation for the unknown future, we were able to create a new life, primarily due to the loving reception into Australia and the help of the Salvation Army, other Australian charity organizations, the generosity of the Australian government, and the Australians at large. We can honestly say that though our own experiences, we understand, even if in a small way, what our fellow Australians are going through right now. All generations of Vietnamese to this day are without doubt living with sincere gratitude and appreciation for the work of Salvation Army, other charitable organizations in Australia, the Australian government and fellow Australians who help, guide and support the Vietnamese refugees and migrants as we settle into Australia over the past 40 years. We are honored and grateful for an opportunity to give in return. So tonight, we do have a stall on our right of the stage with 8 beautiful dresses Vietnamese ladies who are ready to accept your donation. Your donation, no matter how small, will make a big difference to the victim of the bushfire. Together, we can do our small part and make a huge difference. I would like to personally thank once again for all your generous donation and may God bless us all. Thank you.
Chúng em xin kính chào quý quan khách. Chúng em xin cảm ơn bác sĩ Dũng đã cho chúng em có cơ hội để đóng góp một phần khả năng của mình vô trong cái vấn đề gây quỹ để giúp cho của cộng đồng, để giúp cho nạn cháy rừng năm nay. Chúng em xin thay mặt ban gây quỹ cho nạn cháy rừng trong hội chợ Tết năm nay tha thiết mời gọi mời gọi sự nhiệt tình đóng góp của quý vị, dù ít dù nhiều, đều nói lên tinh thần của chúng ta đối với đất nước dân Úc đã cưu mang chúng ta có một đời sống tự do sung túc như hôm nay. Ngọc Yến có 4 câu thơ xin tặng cho quý vị. Gom góp yêu thương đong đầy nghĩa nặng, gối trọn chân tình gửi đến nạn nhân. Hãy giúp nhau những mất mát khi cần, cùng thể hiện lòng tri ân nước Úc. Xin chào, xin nhận tay.
Trước hết tôi xin kính chúc đến tất cả quý ông bà, quý cô bác, quý anh chị em một năm mới được an khang thịnh vượng. Xin cảm ơn. Để tiếp lời của hai chị đi trước thì chương trình của chúng ta gây quỹ để giúp cho nạn nhân cháy rừng thật ra thì cũng không phải là chỉ có 2 đêm tối của chương trình hội chợ Tết. Rất mong quý cô bác, quý anh chị, quý anh chị em nói chung với tinh thần uống nước nhớ nguồn, ăn trái nhớ kẻ trồng cây, thì chương trình gây quỹ của chúng ta ngoài 2 đêm chợ Tết, chúng ta vẫn còn có một chương trình văn nghệ vào ngày 16 tây tháng 2 lúc 10 giờ sáng ngày Chủ nhật. Nói chung các anh chị em trong ban tổ chức rất mong được tiếp đón tất cả quý bà con, quý anh chị em có mặt trong ngày hôm đó để trước là giúp tinh thần cho tất cả các anh chị em trong ban tổ chức, và cũng là với tinh thần uống nước nhớ nguồn, ăn trái nhớ kẻ trồng cây cho những nạn nhân đang cần sự giúp đỡ của tất cả chúng ta. Và cuối cùng tôi xin cầu chúc cho tất cả quý vị và đại gia đình của quý vị một năm Canh Tý được vạn sự như ý. Dạ, xin kính chào.
Sau đây là lễ dựng cây nêu cổ truyền. Ý nghĩa của việc dựng nêu là để xua đuổi ngoại quỷ. Ngoài ra, đối với nhiều nơi ở miền Bắc, việc dựng nêu còn là biểu tượng để xác định chủ quyền đất đai của họ. Sâu xa hơn, đó chính là niềm tự hào của dân tộc Việt Nam. Nam Quốc Sơn, Hà Nam Đế Cư, từng tấc đất đều thuộc chủ quyền của Việt Nam.
We will now hold the ceremony of the raising of the bamboo tree. Traditionally, the meaning of the raising of the bamboo was to drive away the evil spirits. The bamboo was also considered a link between heaven and earth.
Xin mời Thủ Hiến, Thủ lãnh đối lập, Minister Popular và bà thị trưởng Tracy Roberts lên dựng nêu.
May we invite the Premier, the Leader of the Opposition, Minister Papalia, and the Mayor of the City of Wanneroo to come and help raise the bamboo tree.
Okay. Món bột bằng sông hả?
Thank you.